Hello everyone, welcome back to another devlog. For this episode, we'll be focusing on UI components, like the toolbar and the health overlay. I started off by writing some code for the health and the toolbar for the player, and I also added some UI components, such as the health overlay, which as of right now is just red screen. The code that I'm using right now changes the color of the element rather than changing the alpha, which I determined to be not the best way of doing it, so I rewrote the code later on, but for right now, we're changing the color. As you can see here, I'm experimenting with the styling of the toolbar. The style that I want the toolbar to be is dynamic, meaning depending on how many items the player have in their toolbar, the UI element will change accordingly. As you can see, it seems to work beautifully. Now, it's time to load the code. I start off by writing the script for the toolbar that allows it to add items to the UI. Then I added the toolbar. I made it so that whenever a player gets an item, as long as the toolbar isn't filled, the item will go directly to the toolbar. I added a couple more boxes here to make everything much easier. This is the code that controls the toolbar's transparency. Whenever there's an item in the toolbar will appear. This makes it so that it's hidden when it's not needed. What I did first was update the toolbar every frame. So that way, whenever there's a new change, the toolbar will instantly recognize it and update the UI accordingly. However, I found out that it caused a lot of lag. So what I did after that is write a function that updates it whenever the toolbar is updated. Someone suggested to me the idea of a safe zone, an area where the player cannot be damaged by enemies or enemies cannot spawn. I think this is a fantastic idea and I'll be implementing it into my game. If you have any suggestions or comments, please leave them below. Going back to the game, there was a bug that made implementing the toolbar much of a hassle. Whenever the item UI element was being assigned as a child of the toolbar UI element, the toolbar UI element didn't see the item element as a child. Pretty confusing, huh? This was fixed by changing how I made the item UI element, which seems to be not supported by Unity. Now on my part, I probably shouldn't have read the documents before adding the code, but I'm glad it was fixed. Next, I play around with a few things for optimization. However, most of the things I tried didn't seem to work, so I reverted them back. I also added a function that changes the health and only updates the health UI whenever that function is called. But I changed it back because I realized that testing will be a lot harder. Finally, I added a component that damages the player every so often when the player steps on it. Alright everyone, let's test it out. So if we open a blue box, we'll see that the toolbar appears. Let's open another one. And voila. Now if we go on here, we will take damage and you will see that the health overlay appears. Slowly but surely, it does. When the player dies, the health overlay will take over the screen. Thank you for watching, subscribe to be notified of future devlogs, and stay tuned.